guys, so I'm back with a new video and let's talk about the Batman. So this is the first of my most anticipated movies that I'm watching this year, the first review out of all those 10 movies that I just was really excited to watch. I feel like I'm like the last person to post this video, but well, I don't care. I feel like there will be people that want to know my thoughts, and if you don't, I just do this for me. I always set out to review the ones that I'm most excited about, and this being one of those. I wasn't invited to any screenings, so I just went in on premiere day here in Portugal, and yeah. I don't think I need to really tell you much about this film. I'm still gonna tell you a little bit, but yeah, all you need to know is that I avoided trailers at all costs. This was like the hardest thing I had to do, which I went to the cinema multiple times these past few months, and since December, at least every single time I went to the cinema, a trailer of the Batman played before the movie that I was gonna watch. So it was like really hard to just block out everything, not look at the screen and everything, and just really the only thing that I've seen was like the very, very first trailer that came out like back in I don't even know when, like last year, like the very first one. I only watched it once and that was it. I tried to avoid trailers at all costs, everything, didn't want to know anything. And yeah, all I knew was what I told you in that most anticipated video. So yeah, let's get to it. As I said, I feel like you know what this movie is about, but like a brief summary and just something that just makes this one different from all the other ones is that it's not an origin story. This follows Batman in the second year as the Batman, and like while he's like fighting crime and stuff, he comes across the serial killer called the Riddler. That's like putting it really, really easy for you. Like, yeah, basic. Also, I feel like I don't really need to tell you who stars in this film. It's a whole thing, but this movie stars Robert Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz, Paul Dano, and Jeffrey Wright, as well as other names. There's a lot of big names. And post that, let's get to my thoughts. So I'm glad I'm doing this the day after I watched the film, because when I came out of the theater, I was really conflicted. Like, I knew I enjoyed the film, I just didn't know if I enjoyed it as much as I wanted to, because this is like a really, really different Batman superhero film. It's not like any other film you've seen before. It's a really different take on Batman, and that is good. I like that they went in with a totally different approach. However, I do have a lot of criticism, which might come across as if I didn't like the film, but I did. I was a lot harsher when I came out. Now I slept on it and I watched a ton of interviews and all of that, and I watched the trailers that I just avoided, and now I have a better understanding on the film. I still have a lot of the same criticisms, which I'll get into, but just letting you know that I did like it. Maybe not as much as everyone else, but I still enjoyed it, and I can appreciate it for what it is. But yeah, it's a totally different Batman film. This is more of a detective thriller. It is so similar to Seven, and this might be a hot take, but I'm not really a huge fan of Seven. I understand why people like it, but I just think it's kind of slow. And this movie is 3 hours long, and a lot of people will complain about that. However, I don't think you do really feel the runtime. At one point, I was like, I don't really feel it. I'm really enjoying it. But then the movie just had an hour after I had that thought, add an extra hour, and I can't see. I mean, like, the movie is a little too long, but I didn't really mind the 3 hour runtime. Like, I feel like they could have cut like 30 minutes, 15 minutes, and it would be like perfect. But yeah, I don't mind the 3 hour runtime. I also didn't mind that this was a dark and gritty take on Batman. I actually really liked it. You know, I am a horror fan, and because of that, not only I liked that like atmosphere, I actually wanted more out of it. I feel like this film is asking for an R rating. I just wish they had more like blood, gory stuff. The whole thing being like a detective thriller, looking for a killer. It really, I feel like it would have been even better if they were more explicit with the gore and the violence. And I mean, there's a ton of violence. Obviously, it's an action, a superhero movie after all. But this is asking for an R rating, and I really wish they went for it. I understand why they didn't. They want to appeal to a larger audience. But yeah, I really wish they were a bit more like the Suicide Squad and showed the gore and the grittiness, like being like really real and disgusting. But yeah, I still liked the whole dark vibe. Now let's address the elephant in the room and talk about Robert Pattinson. I gotta say, I wasn't one of those people that thought he wouldn't be a good Batman. However, I did went into it with caution. I was just really curious to see if he could pull it off and be Batman. And I am happy to report that Robert Pattinson is a really good Batman. However, I wasn't a big fan of his Bruce Wayne. I get it, and after my research and everything, I just understood that it's their intent. They wanted a more brooding and dark and sort of emo Bruce Wayne, which does make sense for his trauma and what he went through. But I'm just really familiar, and I just really, the Bruce Wayne that I know is the playboy type, and like he has that charm and everything when he's Bruce Wayne, and that's not this Bruce Wayne. He's like really dark and really reserved and kind of threatening actually. And although I wasn't a fan of it right after I watched the film, now I understand it and I can get behind it. But although Robert Pattinson was really good as Batman, and I'm not disappointed with that, my favorite was Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. As soon as she was cast, I knew she was perfect for this role, and she's my favorite Catwoman. Like, every time I looked at her in that big screen, I just saw Catwoman. She was perfect as Selena Kyle, and actually the chemistry between her and Robert Pattinson was really good. I really enjoyed that dynamic. Yeah, it made sense and I really liked that. And everyone else was really good as well. Like Paul Dano as the Riddler was really menacing and psychotic and threatening. And Colin Farrell is unrecognizable as the Penguin. Yeah, I would have never guessed that it was him. Yeah, the cast is outstanding. Speaking of the Riddler, I'm really happy that they went with him as the main villain. I just think not only he fits perfectly this crime thriller mystery thing, detective work, not only he fits perfectly, but I also think he's a more interesting a villain than the Joker. Besides, Joker is being like so played out right now. So yeah, I'm really happy they went with the Riddler because it was like really interesting to watch. Speaking of that, my main criticism and the reason why I feel like the movie could have been like 15-30 minutes shorter is that when it was about the Riddler, I was like super invested, but when it shifted to the Penguin and Falcone and all of that gangsta stuff, I just wasn't as invested. So all of those scenes weren't as exciting to me. I understand they make sense for the whole plot, but I just wanted to see more of the Riddler and his riddles and all of that. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Something else that I think was a little too long was that car chase scene with the Penguin. That car chase scene, I think it ran for a little too long, but it was exciting to see the Batmobile and all of that. Yeah, even though I feel like it could have been a little shorter, yeah, I can't really complain. And then the final battle, I saw a lot of people complaining about that, but to me, that's what really made me love the film. Like that final battle was what a superhero movie is to me, and that's when I felt like this was the Batman. Maybe it just didn't like fit with the rest of the film, like all the other darkness stuff, the tone of the film, maybe it was a little too superhero-ish, but I enjoyed it. And yeah, that final battle was, to me, it was really good. So yeah, as I said, I had to sleep on it and I just had a lot of emotions after I watched it and I was so conflicted, but right now I'm settled. I think it deserves the score that I'm about to give, and yeah, I kind of do want to watch it again because I feel like there's a lot of stuff that I missed, and yeah, I really enjoyed the tone and everything. And I forgot to mention the cinematography is really beautiful and that score fits perfectly. So yeah, in the end, I think it's a really well-made film with a clever story, great atmosphere, and with Robert Pattinson as a really different but really good Batman. And with that said, let's get to my scores. So after a lot of thought, overall I give the film a 4 out of 5. I think it totally deserves a 4 out of 5. I almost gave it a 3.5, but yeah, no, it's really well made, and yeah, it deserves a 4 out of 5. Cinematography, I also give it a 4 out of 5. The stylization it fits perfectly. I loved all. It might be a bit too dark for some people, like visually dark, but I loved the darkness with the reds and all of that. Yeah, really good. In originality, I also give it a 4 out of 5. If you compare it to other Batman films, as well as other superhero films, there is nothing like this. It it is, yeah, it's super different, but it fits, and it might be hard for some people, and I am kind of attached to the Christopher Nolan films. Those are my Batman films. But I feel like, yeah, we needed something different. If you're gonna do a Batman film after so many, and with a new actor, you gotta do something different. And I think they did it amazing with this one. It's different and so original, and yeah, and as I saw a lot of people say, this is perfect for those people that don't really like superhero movies, because this feels more like a detective thriller, as I said, like looking for a killer and following the clues. So yeah, it's really like a noir type of film. So yeah, I think a lot, like the majority of people will enjoy it. So that's it. And yeah, guys, these are my thoughts on the Batman. This was something, because I went from not being sure about it to like realizing how brilliant it is in like less than 24 hours. So yeah, I'm really curious to see what everyone thinks, because as I said, I avoided trailers, I avoided reviews, I avoided everything, and now I'm like consuming everything, just seeing what everyone thought about the film. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you thought. Also, let me know which one is your favorite Batman. Mine is Christian Bale. I think he's still like the best Batman. He's perfect for the role. He's just as good as Batman as Bruce Wayne. But yeah, that's me. So let me know your favorite Batman. Let me know what you thought of Robert Pattinson as the Batman, as well as Bruce Wayne. And yeah, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not subscribed yet, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!